Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and this is a video about accountability and responsiveness versus the government or political sector versus the private sector or enterprise, charities, voluntary organizations. Organizations where the fact that they exist is only because you chose to give them money, whether by buying something from them or donating to them, versus government, political organizations who people's positions only exist because you voted for them every couple of years, and the resources only exist because they force you to pay them. And the difference in accountability, because what's happened recently is that Franken is resigning as a U.S. senator. And many people will see that as sort of a good thing in the sense that when you get accused of doing something bad, and as the evidence begins to pile up, as the people asking for you to step down and grow, that he steps down. But the difference is a very difference in response time and the type of response you get in the political sector than in enterprise. Because, I mean, you also have Roy Moore, where the Republicans have gone in the other direction and just sort of decided to embrace and endorse Roy Moore because it's more important to keep that seat in the Senate than to, well, show any kind of empathy or sense of justice towards abuse. So that's sort of what we're seeing in politics. They're slow to respond, and what's more important to politicians to keep their power. So again, the Democrats resisted Franken sort of resigning for quite a bit. It wasn't something that happened like right away. It took some time. It took for a critical mass before that decision was made. And same thing with Conyers. So the result is slowness. While when we take a look at enterprise, we take a look at the Weinstein Company. Weinstein was out as the news hit. Now again, doesn't mean it took a long time for that news to hit. For Spacey, for Lauer, it took a long time before it hit the media. But the minute it was known, the minute it hit public consciousness, action was taken. Because these are voluntary organizations, you choose whether you want to subscribe to Netflix. You choose whether you want to see a movie produced by the Weinstein Company. And that'll affect their share value. So not only do you have people who choose at a level of as a consumer or a donor, but you have people who choose as shareholders who can sell their shares, and then you see the share price drop, you see people in the board of directors change. So the idea is that change can come very quick. The response can come very quick because you have a voluntary organization. That's always the benefit of voluntary. This is why libertarians are so big on voluntary. Because if you don't produce value, people can choose to walk away. Okay? While in the government sphere, everything's a little bit less voluntary. So that's why the responses are slower. This is why I always compare this to sort of relationships where, relationships where basically both people realize they can walk away. And it's not whether they can. People can always walk away from any kind of bad, negative arrangement. Okay? The chains that bind us are oftentimes in our minds. So it's not whether there's an absolute level of voluntarism. The idea is, do people realize that they can choose? So in a relationship where people are pretty clear that they understand that, you know what, if the person I'm with is not acting up to snuff, I can just go. Those relationships oftentimes are better because both parties are oftentimes trying to keep the other person happy so they stay. So all the little things, all the little details are better. They're producing value for each other. Vice versa, when you start having a dynamic where one party feels less able to walk out of the situation, it increases the ability for the other person, one, to possibly become abusive, or two, produce less value and be slow to respond to vocal complaints, mainly because the consequences of not responding are nothing because the other party doesn't feel like they can walk away. So, and that's essentially what's happening with politics. Basically, people are crying out of anger or crying out for action, and politics is slow to respond because they think the consequences are minimal of not responding. They actually think that the consequences of responding are greater. So sometimes it flips things and completely. So the result is, you know what? I'd rather keep this seat in the Senate. Yes, you may be mad at me now, but I'm not going to be up for election for another 2-3 years. By then you'll have forgotten, and you'll be more worried about the other party by then, because I'll have made you very angry at the other party by then. So in that case, it'll all be okay. Because your ability to respond, your ability to vote, doesn't come up necessarily every day. It comes up once every couple of years. So that your ability to give that feedback, the ability for them to be worried about that feedback, it doesn't come up as often. Your ability to withdraw funding doesn't come up at all. So in that case, again, your mechanisms for giving feedback are minimal, thus the responsiveness is slow until really they can't ignore it. While again, in enterprise, they respond much quicker because you can respond much quicker. It's not that either one is more virtuous. It's not that either one has better people. They're all people with the same types of motivations and biases and cognitive dissonance and behavioral science. If you've ever read behavioral science stuff, But at the end of the day, it's your actions, your ability to choose, that holds everyone else accountable. And where you have more choice, you'll have more accountability. And that's what I want to get across. So if you care about people's welfare, you care about people having justice, you want to push more and more of what's going on in life into the realm of choice, into the realm of people having individual control over their lives and the world around them, a more libertarian world. So my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Have a great day and enjoy.